So after nonstop trauma this year from the widespread layoffs, the probationary purge, and the return to office mandate because we can't trust you to work at home, who knows what you would be doing? Well, the government has a brand new message. This is coming from OPM, which is essentially like HR for the federal government. The OPM director had a brand new interview. And the message is this: he wants to attract new talent into the federal workforce. You heard that right. New talent. And specifically, he wants tech talent. More specifically, he wants people that are skilled in artificial intelligence, AI. And if you've been following along this year, you're tracking the wave that AI is coming to crash down on plenty of jobs to bring automation. There's still some people that don't believe it. There's some people that are like, oh no, it's hype. You're blowing it out of proportion. That's not what it is. That is what it is. And if you look throughout history, every time that technology has made it possible to get rid of workers, that's what it has done. Companies embrace technology that maximizes profit. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, maximizing profit. And we're going to see it done to a certain extent in the federal government. So that's where OPM wants to focus specifically. I mean, there's other IT jobs they would love to fill as well. But if you go on usajobs.gov, because I looked at the interview, I read the script and everything like that, and I said, okay, AI is a big focus. Let's see what they're doing about it. Let's jump on usajobs.gov. Let's see what's there. You know how many AI jobs were there? 3. That's right, there were 3 out of 5,000. 3 jobs there. And one of them, Department of Treasury, the other 2 were in the USPTO, great agency, by the way. But Department of Treasury, their job for AI starts off at $88,000 a year. And it's a term job. That means it's temporary. That means the person's only going to be there for 2 years. And if the agency decides to extend, which they could, it would be a maximum of 4 years. That's not even long enough to be fully vested in a federal pension. So they're not attracting these people by giving them benefits. And $88,000 for somebody who specializes in AI, I believe that's on the low end. So it's not money, it's not benefits. What are we doing? What are you talking about? Department of Treasury? How are you going to attract somebody on a temporary basis? And not only that, this isn't a 2210 job, which is IT. This isn't a 1500 job, which could be computer science. It's a 0800. So they decided to categorize this job under engineering, meaning they have a hard requirement where you need an A-Bet engineering degree or certain classes like physics, classes that engineers would have. What's all this about? It looks like there's a desire to bring in AI engineers in order to construct these AI bots, these AI systems, to include it in workflows across the agencies. Because that's what the OPM director wants. He specifically says he wants all federal agencies to adopt AI into their workflows. And he says, for example, this is how it would look, okay? AI could potentially, let's say, make workers 5% better or 10% better. And this makes the concept of AI more digestible. It'll make our workers better. It'll free up time for the workers so that they can focus on high priority tasks. But all the while, you're training the AI to become better and better until what happens once it's 100% better or more? That means you're not needed. And that's ultimately the end goal. We've heard it from people who worked in Doge. They were claiming that AI will replace federal workers. That's the end state. Elon Musk said something similar. Other heads of agencies, like the secretary over at the GSA, also SSA, the individual that leads SSA right now, they have pretty much alluded to the fact that AI is what's going to save the day when it comes to having record shortages when it comes to their staffing. Because you know SSA, for example, right now, they're hovering around 50,000. They could be below that right now, which is a historic low. And the population that they're serving, the citizens of this country that need SSA benefits, that's at record highs. So make sense of that. Record lows serving record highs. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? OPM also wants to double down on the recruitment of early career federal workers. This is something the director has said in a previous interview, And he believes the reason why they need to do that is because a lot of the people in the federal workforce, they're old. They're older than the private sector, and they're getting to that point where they're eligible for retirement. A lot of them have left. So he wants young blood to come in there, and he doesn't think that younger people think about the government as a place of employment. And the reality is younger people think about the government. It's just not in a good way. They don't, imagine that. They don't think about it in a good way. Look at the headlines throughout 2025. You expect them to think of it as a desirable career path? Of course not. Now, how could you make it more desirable? Two things, really. Two things. The first one is reconsider your telework policies. You have a lot of tech companies right now, and that's who you're going to be competing with. You're competing with the private sector. A lot of those companies offer periodic telework. We're not talking about full-blown 5 days a week, but we're talking about 1 or 2 or 3 days a week, periodically. Flexibility. That's what talent wants. And the second thing is, how about paying your people? If there's a shutdown, how about paying those people because it's not their fault? It's a political failure. It's not a worker failure. It's not a performance issue on the worker. It's a political failure. Everyone knows right now that federal workers have gone without paychecks. How do you think that makes someone feel? Do I want to enter into a job, into a career where I don't have a stable paycheck? Or how about the idea of working for no pay as the president threatens not to pay you at all? Also, OPM is going to have to navigate these new federal hiring requirements. We just had a memo come out not too long ago. It's more difficult for a lot of these agencies to hire who they want to hire. There's more layers they have to go through. Strategic hiring committees, OPM, OMB. Is the administration okay with it? There's so many more layers. And you know where there's no restriction? Well, the 3 main areas: public safety, national security, immigration enforcement. Not just that, but also when it comes to political appointees. So you want to hire Schedule C? You can hire a Schedule C, GS-12, GS-13, have them come in for a few years, and then you'll be, done with them. You could do that. You can hire SES. No issue. If they're politically loyal, if they're a political appointee, green light, go, hire them. Not an issue. But everyone else, you're going to have to look at it and make sure that you're meeting the requirements before you even think about hiring them. And he also said that he wanted to centralize the federal hiring process when it comes to jobs or roles that are similar. So the idea here is you have human resource specialists in every agency for the most part. Same thing with a program assistant or administrative specialist or IT specialist, whatever. They're the same. So when a person applies for one agency, why don't they just share it with all of the agencies? Maybe you apply for the Department of Justice, but Justice doesn't want you. They got somebody better. They don't want you, but you're highly qualified. Why can't the Department of Agriculture interview you? Maybe they can. Maybe you want that job. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But he wants to share the certificates more. This was done to a lesser extent under President Biden. They shared it, certain agencies, they did it internally, so within their sub-agencies. Now they want to take it more external. They want to share it with all the agencies, which could be a great thing for the job seeker, the person that's applying. It could be good. We'll have to wait to see how it unfolds, but it has some promise of being at least better than the old system, but we'll have to wait and see. In addition to this, there are some federal jobs that have a higher probability of making you cry. And this is because they have a reputation. They have a reputation of when somebody joins the agency and starts performing in that job, they often are moved to tears. And it's not always for a good reason. So this is about stress. This is about workload. This is about, are you capable of doing this job and being resilient through the trauma? Now, maybe you want to know these jobs because you want to avoid them. Maybe you're ready for a challenge. I don't know. But if you're interested in that, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.